This is my MagnaCart folding lightweight utility cart, and one of the wheels fractured, so I took it out of the yoke. It's got a rivet, so I drilled out the hollow part with a drill, and then I smashed it out of there with a hammer and a punch and popped that rivet axle out of there. And I'm going to replace that crappy plastic wheel with one that's made out of solid steel. So there's the replacement wheel, and I got these wheel bolts to go with. I'll have to drill out the yoke just a little bit to accommodate that 1/2-inch bore. Alright, so there's the brand new steel wheel with the new wheel bolts. I drilled out the yoke just enough to fit that through there. I had to make a little bitty spacer down in there because the wheel hub is a little thinner than the yoke. So that kind of rusty looking thing is just a little spacer I cut out of a piece of pipe. And now I've got a wheel on my MagnaCart that's 10 times better than the stock wheel. And since I have two of them, I think I'll replace that one also. So the first thing you're going to do is drill out the rivet. And then punch that out with a punch. So I'm going to set this wheel over this hole in this 2x4 to give me a solid surface to pound on and give some room for the rivet to pop out. There's the rivet. I'll pull that out and drill this out for that bigger 1/2-inch axle. So you can see the difference between the rivet size and the axle. So I'm going to drill out that yoke with a step bit. All right, that fits. Now there's a gap between the yoke and the wheel hub because the wheel hub is a little thinner than the yoke. You can see there's a little slop in there. So I'm just going to cut a spacer out of a piece of pipe to take up the slack. This is an old residential flagpole. It's just the right diameter to make a spacer. I'll just cut a little spacer off of there. I also use this flagpole to drive the bearings onto swimming pool pumps. It's just the right size to drive bearings on the booster pump for the Polaris. There's a little spacer I cut off. I'll slip that in between the wheel hub and the yoke. I'll put a drop of Loctite on the threads there so that'll won't back off. So there's the finished product with the new wheels. Much better than the old wheels. In fact, it's probably the most expensive thing on the cart now, but that'll last until the cart self-destructs. Another way you could do this is to get you some 1/2-inch round bar stock and cut the right length for an axle, and then just push on some of these push-on axle nuts. That'd be another way you could do it. Here's a better look at the wheel bolts I got off of Amazon. You can see it can accommodate different sizes of hub, 1 1/8 to 2 inch. So that's real handy, and that's why I use that.